The Legend of the Local Sanatorium. Written by Johnny Fist. Every summer, the local sanatorium was packed to the brim. Waves of pensioners, low-income people, students and orphans flooded the place, forcing Raisa Stepanovna, the head of the sanatorium, to hire extra cooks who worked in 3 shifts, from early morning until late at night. The paradox of the situation was that the summer sanatorium equalized everyone: students, the poor, and the elderly. Ever since Soviet times, these groups have been considered the most in need of food, warmth, and attention. Raisa Stepanovna understood this, knew it well, and even felt a certain sympathy for them. But more than that, she hated them, just as she hated summer itself. Her dark Soviet soul wouldn't allow her to simply spend the summer at the sanatorium without any adventures. So every spring, when there were still few visitors, she meticulously planned her summer. More precisely, she wanted to greet all those in need of her establishment's services in her own special way. The institution, of course, was state-run, and Raisa Stepanovna had nearly been fired a couple of times for her antics. But her steely Soviet grit, combined with a steady salary, kept her in place. And she never denied herself her little pleasures, small to some, significant to others. For example, recalling last summer, which she loved to do as it allowed her to analyze her mistakes and praise herself. She had retrieved an old stash of purgative, a laxative, from the attic, stored there since 1974. She'd always told her late husband, Fyodor, who had repeatedly tried to throw it away, that it would come in handy someday. And one warm May night, in her nightgown, pulling the purgative out of storage, she muttered, as if answering him, "I was right, and you, as always, were wrong." In short, Fyodor had indeed been wrong. After that, the purgative was systematically added to the first courses every day for 3 months. At the same time, the sanatorium toilets were closed for major repairs. A vigilant listener might accuse the author of using a rather banal trick, and yes, they would be right. Even Raisa Stepanovna herself admitted it was a cheap move, especially considering that by the end of the summer, the entire beautiful green territory around the sanatorium had been thoroughly soiled. But even that had its advantages. She had long wanted to plant rapeseed there, and the land needed fertilizing. And so it was. By this summer, rapeseed was blooming in all its glory around the sanatorium. Once again, Raisa Stepanovna sat in her nightgown, actively devising a new plan against the parasites, as she called them. Repeating the word parasites while smoking another cigarette, she suddenly had an idea. Parasites. She remembered that back in 1992 she had poisoned mice with arsenic, and surely she must have some left. She was a thrifty woman, after all. That's what she always told Fyodor. Taking a flashlight and putting on her late husband's jacket, she wasn't squeamish. Raisa Stepanovna went to the garage. The car had long been gone, and cleanliness had never lived there. It served as her personal storage. After rummaging around thoroughly, she unearthed 123 kilograms of arsenic. Overjoyed, she carried it in portions to her house, and then, again in parts, to the sanatorium. It must be said that around the sanatorium, especially after Fyodor's death about 7 years earlier, legends had begun to grow. Every summer, strange miracles occurred there. Poisonings, infestations of cockroaches, outbreaks of diarrhea, swarms of bees and wasps, even grass snakes multiplying and slithering underfoot, and not always harmless ones. No one realized that the old woman was simply bored. She just wanted to liven up her vacation season. During the rest of the year, the food at the sanatorium was excellent. Even high-ranking officials often ordered meals from there, but only in spring, winter, or occasionally autumn. Summer orders had stopped after the legends spread, but that didn't bother Stepanovna. She had plenty to occupy herself with in the summer. In June, when crowds of people, hungry after a long year, began arriving, Raisa Stepanovna started adding arsenic to the soups in refined, careful doses. Regular visitors knew that the first course was the most dangerous dish. So on their way from the serving line to the tables, they discreetly poured the soup into the flourishing rapeseed fields and ate only the main course. As a result, they stayed full and healthy enough to return the next day. Newcomers, however, unaware of Raisa Stepanovna's little games, happily devoured both courses. The result? Stomach pain, nausea, and a ruined day. Raisa Stepanovna knew her limits. She never overdid it, and despite the large quantity of arsenic, she didn't use it every day. She left room for inspections to find nothing, and for people to doubt that the sanatorium was to blame. And it worked. But there was one thing Raisa Stepanovna could never have foreseen: the strange chemical attraction between rapeseed and arsenic. It turned out that this combination attracted mice, not repelled them, attracted them. By July, around 2,000 mice had settled in and around the sanatorium. This was something the old schemer Raya had not anticipated. To avoid having her summer toy shut down, she personally spent nights chasing the mice with a mop and broom, trying to eliminate them. Even in the mornings digging through the rapeseed, she continued exterminating the creatures, repeating a line from a movie, "I am the law here." 2 weeks of desperate struggle with rodents and a completely forgotten original goal led to an unexpected result. People began eating the soup again without getting poisoned. Raisa Stepanovna, consumed by her war with the mice, simply forgot to control when and how much arsenic was added. Her entire summer turned into a battle against mice. In the midst of it all, she even remembered how, 3 summers earlier, she had managed to breed grass snakes on the property. And snakes, as she had read, are great lovers of mice. And so, among the rapeseed fields, around 200 snakes appeared alongside the mice. Raisa Stepanovna had outdone herself. Fertilizer, rapeseed, mice, and snakes. This was the pinnacle of her craft. But there was a downside. Summer ended, and the people were satisfied with both the food and the sanatorium. Raisa Stepanovna even received an honorary certificate from the governor for feeding a record number of needy people, more than even in Gorbachev's time. On September 1st, Raisa Stepanovna gave up. Exhausted and drained, she collapsed into her chair and burst into tears. The whole summer had been ruined. She had gotten no pleasure from it. Lying on the couch, sipping cheap wine, she cursed her late husband for not throwing away that damn arsenic when she told him to. She was overwhelmed by despair and fear that she was getting old, losing her edge, and might never again enjoy life the way she once had. When only a little wine remained at the bottom of the bottle, Raisa Stepanovna suddenly came up with a plan for the morning: to rip out all the rapeseed, root and stem. Now she blamed only it. Not the mice, not the snakes, not the cunning students or the elderly, but the rapeseed. What once seemed like a brilliant idea had turned into a complete fiasco. It was all the rapeseed's fault, and Fyodor's too.